Hi, I'm Cassandra. I'm from Louisiana. I live in the motherland and Ghana. Welcome once again to my new YouTube channel. I am just so excited to the brim that so many have tuned in to visit with me here. I didn't expect such a great reception. I even have 35 subscribers. Whew, who would have thought? I just started out here for the fun of it. And fun is exactly what it has been. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Why, I feel so welcome that I just might stick around and kind of hang out and chill here on YouTube for a spell and make even more videos of our great experiences here in the motherland. So, the saga continues. For 5 whole years, we talked so much about our plans to move to Ghana that our friends had begun to doubt that we were ever going to leave. The first year of our 5-year plan to relocate, we exclaimed to our friends and family, "We moving to Ghana, y'all!" And they would be all excited and asking us questions and everything and wishing that they could come. Counting down at year 4, we exclaimed, "We're moving to Ghana, y'all." And they would reply like, "Oh yeah?" And they continued to share our excitement pretty much. But countdown years 3, 2, and 1, I think they kind of figured we were blowing smoke. And the enthusiasm sort of dwindled as they would reply, "Okay, sure." I think we had kind of worn them down, over the years with our overflowing enthusiasm. But when the countdown reached liftoff, some inquired, kind of, tongue in cheek, "Hey, when y'all leaving going to Ghana?" And we were finally able to say, "We are going now." So our friends and family who had begun to doubt our actual passage were finally able to bid us adieu in 2011. All right, so in my last video episode, we stopped at Peaches and Baby and me arriving in Ghana after loading up the truck like the Beverly Hillbillies and moving. Well, Ghana was not quite Beverly Hills, muddy streets, cornfields, stray animals, naked children, flooded gutters, and all. But moving to number 3 Gold Street at Diamond in the motherland was just as good and better. We have learned so much during our time here. Although we had visited and conducted tours of Ghana since 2006, our false sense of familiarity with life here was stark and obvious once we actually set up housekeeping. Visiting ain't like living here, and we soon found out that we were in another land and another time, where time itself was staunchly implanted in the traditional past, while simultaneously morphing into the future at breakneck speed, right before our eyes. We had to settle in and embrace, rather than repel, a world that was as strange to me as outer space. Baby had traveled the world, but I had only traveled, inside of America, from sea to shining sea. Hey, I didn't know I could sing. And Peaches has done some traveling too, but she nor I had ever been way across the water. However, our transition has gone very, very well. And being from Louisiana, we threw grand parties at the drop of a hat, replete with dancing and great food, drinks, and good old down home fun. We made many friends of the diaspora and our wonderful new community who are all yet our friends to this very day. In the communities in which we chose to live, among the people and their culture, being from the country, We didn't have a whole lot of environmental adjusting to do. We were already accustomed to bad roads and overgrown terrain, free running chickens and goats and sheep in the road, oinking pigs, mooing cows, barking dogs, clothes hanging on the lines in the fresh air, the sweet smell of dirt when it rains, the laughter of children running around the neighborhoods, the sound of frogs after the flooded streets drain, the neighborhood stores on every single corner, the dust, the heat, the loud music, and the quiet times. Spicy foods, funerals on Saturday, sopping collard greens and cornbread with your fingers. All of this was too familiar. It was the recovery of ancient instincts, abruptly abandoned centuries ago, that reclaim us as we reclaim us. We all found a magnetic spiritual and emotional affection for this paradise. The people, the land, the wealth, the poverty, the progress and the lack thereof, the beauty, the dualities and the singularities, the feeling of belonging, the love of life, the heartbeat of freedom. Life on the motherland is definitely different from back home, but somehow the same. We've come full circle, it seems. We're back to where we started, we feel, and we're mighty glad to be here. Now, as with life on the planet, there is always good news and bad news, and the motherland is no exception. In all actuality, though, there is nothing terribly bad to report, but everything can't be great about anything. So I'm going to give you the bad news as not to leave an unfruity taste in your mouth at the end. Coming from the richly abundant America the beautiful and convenient, everyday living in the motherland has its challenges. The culture is in the process of modernizing swiftly, with home appliances being available at high rise department stores. But these labor saving devices are not the norm, and they are very expensive for most of the local people. Clothes washing is done by hand, either by you or someone in your hire, as is the dishwashing and the cleaning. Our first house at Gold and Diamond Streets was a fully furnished castle of a house. The advertisement of it boasted all of the modern conveniences of home, and they did not lie. It was extremely nice. Although we had seen the house before we secured it, we were so excited at the time and we were so impressed because it was so beautiful and we were scampering through it like kids in a candy store. It was like, ooh, ah, look at that. Look at this. We just didn't embrace every single detail about it. But upon arrival, of course, we now had the opportunity to see it all. Our first little surprise was that it advertised a washer and a dryer. Of course, we recognized the nice heavy duty washer tucked back into the cute little laundry room, but we were mildly confused to find an indoor folding clothes rack made of wood with dowel bars on which to hang our wet laundry as being the clothes dryer that they had promised. In Ghana, there's no recourse for slightly stretching the truth in advertising. And that was our first lesson in assumptions in Africa. Our next unexpected revelation was load shed. That is when your electricity gets turned off for scheduled lengths of time in order to accommodate the demand of power throughout the land. It has very much improved during our 7 years here, but back then it was bad. You see, every area of the city and the country We get his time being in the dark for 6 to 12 hours on alternating days throughout the week. Off in the morning, on in the evening, on the next day, then off again the following evening, on again the next morning, and so on, seemingly forever. Our outages did not include the unscheduled, unexpected, and unwelcome faults that we experienced when there was a breakdown of equipment or the plant caught a fire, which was all too often. During a fault, we have been without power for as many as 8 days. Hmm. Well, dis be Ghana, as they say. I guess we should have counted our blessings, because in other parts of West Africa, they only get lights 4 hours between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. every day. Next, bartering is king. Getting a fair price from merchants in the markets directly depends on your negotiating expertise. Unfailingly, upon hearing our foreign accent, the price of their wares can increase at least 200%. At least. So, here's the deal. They tell you their price. Then you make your offer next, but go low. On cue, the merchant will proceed to meet you halfway in the bargaining process, which can often take some hard finagling. But according to how good you are and how patient you want to be, you can garner a mutual agreement and reach a happy medium for you both. And you've got their respect because, you see, they like to do stuff like that. Now, for the good news. Basically, everything else. Ghana is Sankofa, back to our roots, when time ticked slowly, allowing us to savor life. Once I accepted the fact that living here is a new chapter in our book of life, unlike and incomparable to anything else we ever imagined, I began to get comfortable for this extraordinary ride. In my whole born days, I have never experienced the kind of reverent respect that we receive from the young people in our communities. I always find myself startled as the children I meet on the street pause to curtsy or bow and greet me as Madame. Ooh, making my day so special. And at first that kind of blew my mind. Like, where they do that at? Huh? They do that in Ghana. And these youth are hungry and thirsty for education. And they make no qualms about asking for your help in obtaining their schooling, for which they have to pay in elementary and junior high levels. Just recently, though, they made senior high schools free for Ghana students. And we are hoping that free education will be the opportunity for all children here soon. Those babies work very hard, too. Each morning to do the family chores before going off to school, cooking and toting water, running errands. On weekends, knocking on doors, asking for yard or laundry jobs. Yet they are so happy. Their laughter pierces the peaceful air. Their smiles flash like lightning bolts, and their joy sparkles like embers in the night. Here, computers shut down, phone batteries die, food spoils, and ceiling fans cease to twirl in the heat of the day during these fierce electrical outages. But I have learned to never look a gift horse in the mouth. Amazingly, I always discover something to do when I'm abruptly torn from Facebooking and emailing and YouTubing. I finally find time to catch up on some reading or do a little writing, with a pencil and paper for a change, or cleaning out the refrigerator, or straightening underneath the cabinets, or painting seashells, or working in the garden, or playing chess with baby, or taking long walks or short naps, or just hanging out with family as we congregate on the front porch to share these dark moments, or just chilling out for a much needed hiatus. Everything happens for a reason, even load shed. The cost of living here is well under that, way over yonder across the water. Although inflation happens to us all, everything from building a house to getting your hair did is extremely economical. The current US dollar versus the Ghana CD currency exchange rate hovers around $1 equaling 4.5 Ghana CD. And that is a pretty good bang for your buck. We really enjoyed our new house at number 3 Gold Street. Even our address was a forecast of a sparkling and rich experience to come. We would take walks through the neighborhood, acquainting ourselves with our surroundings and new neighbors, learning to ride the public transportations, the trotros and the taxi cabs, learning how and where to shop, or just chilling on the back porch enjoying the afternoons. One evening, while sitting on the back porch, we saw the sky darken. Looking up to find seemingly zillions of birds overhead. The neighbors told us that these were bats on their nightly migration to the Volta region to feed, and that they return every single morning. So, let me tell you about that story. There once was a mighty chief from the Volta region who became ill and was brought to 37 Military Hospital here in Accra for treatment. Thousands and thousands of fruit bats from his kingdom escorted him here and perched in the trees outside of his hospital room window. Oh, but the great chief died. But obviously, no one informed the bats because they have occupied those mahogany trees at the hospital for decades, waiting for his medical discharge to this very day. Oh my gosh, I really, really love these stories. Okay, all right, just one more. Remember that movie called The Sword and the Stone and other movies of King Arthur and the Excalibur sword? Well, they took their storyline from our actual Sword and the Stone, and we have it right here in Ghana. The real Sword and the Stone is located at the Okomfo Anokye Hospital in Kumasi. The hospital was fittingly built around the monument, which is believed to have miraculous healing powers. The sword was placed there by Okomfo Anokye in 1695. He is heralded as the greatest medicine man ever and believed to be a powerful spirit that had returned to his people to complete his mission of uniting the Ashanti people. Said to be born with teeth and a beard and already able to walk and talk. At birth, his two palms were firmly held together and could not be separated. Finally, when he was about 2 years old, he opened his hands to reveal totem poles believed to be from the gods. Okomfo Anokye drove the sword into the ground, declaring that the end of the Ashanti kingdom would be the result of it ever being removed. To date, countless numbers of attempts have been made to remove it from the ground, including heavy equipment and strong men, but it yet remains planted. If there was a secret to its removal, Okomfo Anokye took it with him to the grave. He was known for countless healings and miracles, including causing water to flow from a rock, making magical palm wine, walking in the rain without becoming wet, and teleportation, and was seen by witnesses in the city in the flesh the day of his funeral. You can read more about Okomfo Anokye in the links below and do a Google search to learn more about this amazing African history. Okay, all right then. So I'm finished with marveling stories. Yeah, as with the world, there is the good, the bad, and the ugly here in Eden. I am becoming more and more immune, though, to the snafus of daily maintenance. I warmly welcome the firm biceps and triceps that I get from hand washing and rinsing and hanging up clothes outside on the clothesline. I'm learning the language and perfecting my Ghanaian accent. And I certainly have a much better understanding of reading between the lines and in the dark. Summing it all up at this point, I strongly concur with the local saying, a bad day in Ghana is better than a good day anywhere else. Well, I guess this about wraps it up for this week. So, in my best African tone, atop my Louisiana twang, midase pa, that means thank you very much for joining me. And mikwaba sisia, that means I will return soon. Until then, I'm Cassandra. I'm from Louisiana. I live in the motherland and Dispi Ghana. Thank you so much for joining me.